recent college graduate from Virginia Tech, and I have now moved to Miami. So about this car story, I bought it back in probably the beginning of my college career. Main reason why I bought it was because the car salesman said that this was a 5-star safety rating. So sitting in here, you do feel pretty comfortable because you have so much space around you. So in the event of an accident, you're gonna be safe. That's what got me initially into it, as well as just how often you see this car on the road. So that also kind of shows you how much this car is well received by its consumers. So additionally, this is a 2007. I got it used at 75,000 miles. And I think since then, which was about 4 to 5 years ago, I now am at 125. So another great thing about this car is that it is great, wonderful for long distance commutes. So from Virginia, I have since driven to Denver, Colorado, back and forth, and then as well as here now from Virginia to Miami. And it's never given me an issue. In fact, that's probably also why I bought Honda, because it is very good with the car overall maintenance. So as long as you check the oil, check tire pressure, make sure your fluids are correct, you're gonna have a really easy car to deal with. And so as a college student, I thought, well, that's exactly what I need and that's exactly what I want. So as far as the features go, like I said, this is a 2007, so that was probably before we got a little bit more into technology. So for me to be able to charge my phone and play music, I have this device, and there's 2 separate ports, one for the aux and then one for your charging station. So I use this to connect it to. You do have a wide variety of other options. You can still listen to the radio here. There is a CD port. It's quite simple, but for me at the time, this was all I needed. And then in here, you do have a digital monitor, but that could always be improved. So that is what it happens to be when you have a 2007. I guess as far as just like issues go, since it is over 10 years old, you do have a bit of like mechanical issues, like the side over here, the lock, when it locks, this lock is very loud. So it sounds like it's broken, it still locks, but that's like one technical issue. The speakers are extremely awesome. They're really loud. I don't think they get them as much as in the back, but for the most part, it's everything I've needed, and I enjoy this car. There's also a second compartment up here, so it's easy access instead of just the glove box. You have a nice sunglass case, and you can even like stop it right there so you can look. Assuming this is a family car, you do have the ability to see what's going on in the back of the car. As well as this section down here, you can push this lever up here, and then you can just have easy access for it to be moved down this way. So overall, the car has great features. It's done an amazing job with the cross country, the safety rating. I've been in one accident and nothing happened. It's a great car. It does have some wear and tear, but overall it's a great car. So I still love my car, even though it has a lot of characters that I'm not particularly happy about anymore, considering the lock doesn't work, the engine sounds kind of crazy, but I'm excited to try the 2020 Honda CR-V. So the first difference is this car has leather, as well as this guy. This was not invented in 2007. Push to start technology, so I guess brake and hold the engine button down. So that's the first thing that's new, as well as there's a lot more buttons. There's a lot more technological investment here. So you do have a charging station for your phone. The stereo system is already better, which was one of my favorite things in the 2007, so I'm already interested in this model more. You do have the brake button right here, as well as, wow, there's just a lot of like features here, but it's not distracting. I think that's the main point to say as well. You do have 2 models over here. So button 1, I assume it's just this seating, and then button 2 has a different seat, which again, these are family cars, so if you have mom at 1 and then you have dad at 2, it makes it easier so that you don't have to constantly readjust it to the person driving the car. You also have speakers on the sides of the car, which again, that probably alludes to having a better music quality than my 2007. It looks like the back row is still a bit elevated, which was the same case in the 2007. I think that's just a matter of being able to see your kids. Does this? Yeah, this is the exact same thing, which is great because I do think that in the event that if I had a family or just maybe even friends in the back, you can still see what's going on in the back seat, so that's good as well. You do have Bluetooth, so you do not have to have that unnecessary 2 wires that I had in the previous car. So that looks awesome as well. It seems like a bit cleaner. You also have, what is this? The same features for lights. So I guess that's also really good that the manufacturer decided to keep the same model. Of course, this is cleaner, but overall this is pretty much the same. The gas tank is also the same, but it's better because you have more variety of being able to see the different features. So you have your coolant on one side and then you have your gas on the other side. Whereas in the other car, they overlap each other. So it's a nicer display. It's not distracting though. The other one's a bit more blocky, but this one's a bit easier on the eye. So I guess that's where that research and development came in. You do have the same gas and tank on this side, which is good as well because you don't have to deal with the with too much of a difference. But overall, this model is very clean. I like the wood finishings here. Still has these, which I think every car needs to have that. This is interesting though. You actually have a body here instead of just being like a platform. So that's really nice. And then you have the sliding compartment here. So if you need that to be discreet, you have that. And I'm sure this goes down somehow, but either way, very clean. Love this car. I would highly consider getting this over that car, especially because, like I said, Honda has a standard, and that standard is check your oil, and it's pretty easy to maintain the car. In the center console, also, I didn't say, all technology. There's very few buttons. This whole thing is touchscreen. It's a bit overwhelming considering I just have 1 to 5. AM to FM aux, but this is a very nice car. So now we're just gonna see the difference of the two cars. So I don't know much about engines, but what I do know is if one is not working properly, as far as, well, having to start the car multiple times. But yeah, this starts right when you ignite it and it's pretty solid. So depending on the driving, I've seen this 31 miles per gallon. That would probably be highway. And then on regular roads, it averages about, let's say 23, 24. So give or take, to fill the gas, it's usually no more than, I would say 32. It's been, that would be the ultimate max. And that's probably every like 10 days, and that also just depends on how often I'm driving. But here in Miami, at least, you kind of have to drive everywhere, so that definitely does add. And then the stop and go traffic, so I'd be interested to see what the other car would do as far as gas mileage, considering this one could be better potentially. I do feel pretty secure in this car as far as how I guess comfort, maybe, like the space in here. It does feel big, but personally I like to drive as close to the wheel, and this is nice. I love my car, but I would be interested to see what a newer version would be like. So I did buy this car also for about 15 or 16, and I think at the time, that was about 4 or 5 years ago, it was definitely more reasonable considering it was my first investment. One thing I do love about this car is that it doesn't take much to heat or cool down. It's very fast, but that could just be due to the coolant working properly. I'm not sure, but yeah. Winters are cold in Virginia, and this car definitely warms up pretty fast. I can also say though, with the AC at least, sometimes when the car is in idle, the wheel will shake, and that's only due to the AC. So I guess when it's off, it's more quiet, car's not shaking and idle. Yeah, but for the most part, it's all works. I'm interested to see what the blinker would sound like in the other car. Okay, so the first thing I notice here is that it feels a bit more spacious, and I do like this top frame here. It's a nice design, as well as not having to put my phone on a charger. I can just, I guess, that way. I think it charges that way. Yeah, it did charge. Cool. So now we are driving. Okay, so I'm not sure what it's called with the wheel, but it's definitely not so jerky. It's very smooth. Feels like butter, actually. Yeah, but the wheel is definitely a lot smoother than the drive I have with that car. It actually feels like the years that I've had that car has had its wear and tear, because this does remind me of when I first bought that car. It was a very nice smooth wheel. But again, there's a lot more technological investment in making sure that the ride is as smooth as possible. So I do feel that. I do feel more spacious in here. I like the black interior. That's different than the gray one. What's also really awesome is that instead of looking at the maps on my phone right here, you have the whole map here. I'm sure this takes a lot to get used to, but all the different features here, your home, map, audio, phone, probably your lightness and darkness settings. That's nice as well, because you have that leeway, because that does signify less driving distraction because it's all on one screen here. You do have an econ saving feature as well, which is nice because I'm a consumer that cares about those things. This, I'm not sure what that button is, but that's what makes getting a new car so much fun, because you get to experience all those features that your previous car hasn't had. So it's nice because now that I've graduated college, I have kind of more of an opportunity to find a career that can get me a job that will allow me to pay for such a car like this. So I think it's a good investment. Also, with this, it looks like your brake is right here, and on the previous car, the brake was at the bottom where you have in your other pedals. And then just the overall features here with your gas and your coolant, that's also very nice. The brakes are smoother too. When I first got the 2007 Honda CR-V, felt like the brakes were very sensitive, whereas this, it's just you kind of barely ease on it and you get what you need, which is to stop the car. So I do like these brakes a lot better than the ones that were originally what I bought that car with. Again, with wear and tear, it changes it, but this is very nice. Very, very nice. I do feel a difference. It drives a lot smoother. I think the major difference is that it's quiet. It's a very quiet drive. The other one, you kind of hear it whistling, the engine every now and then, probably some of the shocks underneath. You just hear the drive. Whereas this, it's more ideal to commute in. So I do like this car a lot better already in that aspect. And I'm sure if I had the music on, that would be a lot better as well, but I think for this, at least, it's nice to not hear anything with this car. Even the sound of the blinker is less obnoxious than the one in my car, but it works. Yeah, this is nice. I do like the dashboard here. You can see the mileage, well, how fast you're driving, whereas the other one, it's just the dial, so that you have to be aware of just so you don't get a speeding ticket. But this is nice. You do see it's 19 right now, just driving the neighborhood, so this is nice. I like the seat of this car more. It's more like flat, whereas the other one you kind of are molded into the seat, and that doesn't seem very friendly, I guess, for multiple body types. I personally can fit in pretty much anything and still have some wiggle room, but this is a lot better because of that alone. Well, that already I want to have instead of this car, because now I have to manually turn this car on and wait a second, whereas the other one is just push to start, which I would much rather have than this. Also, you already hear the difference from the other car to my car, so that was amazing. What can I say? That car is exactly the type of investment I should make. Whereas this was a good investment when I made it, but that car is definitely worth it. I mean, let alone a car that's just my style. From the technological like features of the car, I didn't even know it was possible to have that in a car. Because ever since I was in the buying market, this was the reality of it. Which also, when I first bought this car, in that reality, I could only afford maybe $10,000, and I decided, hey, Hondas are amazing cars, so I'm gonna go with a car that's a little bit more out of my budget, which was about like $5,000 out more. But also, seeing another Honda right now that is about a 95, they just do an immaculate job at making Hondas better than what we have now. So if I had a 94, I would have bought that. I have the 2007, I bought that. So it's just gonna take a little bit of years and saving, but I absolutely want to buy the other car. I think it is so worth the investment. It's $35,000. It's a little more than double what I paid for this car, but you're getting more than half of what this car came with. So ultimately, I think it's important to do that. So definitely this car is got to go, and 2020 CRV is now the next goal to have. I want that car, and I'm gonna get it.